need to jump over this hurdle first.
They really do. And it's going to begin in the drafting phase. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome you to the drafts of game number 1. Bigatron Alpha, first pick. GEEK Fam with the second. Already a Baxia, Faramis, and a Fredrin being banned out by Bigatron. They certainly have done their homework against the Geeks. Meanwhile, GEEK go for a Fanny and a Joy ban.
Well, going for the bans here on the Faramis, the Fredrin, and the Baxia. This means that GEEK Fam has limited lifespans in these big team fights, and that's exactly how Bigatron likes it. They want to go for the high pace, high kill strategy, and without all these fighters, it's also kind of locks Belorski in a difficult spot. If he wants to play the supportive roamers, he can do so, but that means that there's more limit on the tanky or fighter heroes in the jungle that Nile can use to contest. For now though, the Akai is still left open, and for Bigatron, the first pick is going to be that Valentina.
A very solid pick. All right, again, Bigatron in the hands of Moreno. It's a very versatile Valentina, but it seems like they forgot about one hero. 2 heroes, rather. They forgot about Matilda and Angela mid is a deadly, deadly Angela.
Wow, all right. GEEK Fam just throwing out all that they have here. Double support meta. So you think that this is going to be a Matilda for a boy?
Matilda roam, Angela mid.
Okay, so Angela for a boy. All right, what do we think about this in comparison to what Bigatron chose, prioritizing Valentina? Was this a worth it trade?
I find it hard to say that, man. Now they go for the Claude and the Uranus as well. It's sustainability, it's damage, but we've seen how devastating the Matilda was. We've seen how difficult it is to deal with a hard-guarded hero when GEEK Fam is on the pilot seat. So giving both over to GEEK Fam, I think it's a bit risky, but if they're planning on exploiting the lack of damage perhaps, maybe they're onto something. But I think GEEK will definitely have a plan. Now the last pick right here will really shape up their composition. Gonna be a strong EXP lane? Is it gonna be a strong gold laner? The Irithel is available, and many regard it as one of the best marksmen you can get in the current meta. Marky was using it, and he has, on average, I think about 1 or 2 deaths every single game against Onyx. But it won't be picked up just yet. It's gonna be the Lancelot first.
A very solid pick, but it's against Onyx here, especially if they're red side. They tend to do this, right? They have this pattern where they usually pick up a jungle in that third pick, and it seems like it is no different. They pick up a Lancelot. Why? Mobility. Again, with the punctures, will be able to find the backlines here. In this case, it is going to be Valentina. But second phase here, a very good response, right? Hilda ban comes through.
Well, with the Valentina available here, they can really like steal some of the hard guards, you know, the guiding winds if they want as well. I mean, the Circling Eagle, my bad. But it seems like they're gonna be attempting to go for something a bit more aggressive from GEEK Fam. They're gonna be banning away the Hilda. It's a big problem, but Bigatron are not targeting the gold lane because they already secured one for themselves.
That makes sense. We saw what the Hilda was able to do against the best jungler in the world, as a lot of people mentioned, against Kyrie, that a lot of people said that Kyrie even cried on stage because of how aggressive the Hilda was from a Bigatron. So GEEK have also done their homework in that sense. Choosing the Lancelot, they want to give him a little bit more free reign, a little bit more farm in the early game, giving him a little bit more freedom. And they also respond with an Akai ban. And you can just see, they're trying to really highlight Nile in that jungle to be able to create an impact from that early game. Now the question is, does Bigatron want to go for the same route, go for another gold lane ban here? What's a good option against the Claude in lane?
Good option against a Claude? It depends, right? Claude is always a bit of a skill matchup, but Brody does come to mind. A bit more aggressive here, but that could be exactly what GEEK Fam are looking for. If it's not the Brody, I imagine something a bit more hyper carry oriented would make sense. Maybe the Kari even. It's a good matchup against the Uranus. And with so much protection, there's so much more space to be made, and there you go, Bigatron Alpha. They recognize that danger and they ban it away.
A very good response as well, you're right. I mean, considering that they have the carry here, signifies as well, they will pick up a hero that is tanky for that jungler, right? And the Bruno pick comes through, also very reasonable. that, yeah, they want to go front to back here. Considering that the composition isn't really tanky, they really have to go and give damage here in their composition to the front lines. They need to make sure that they have enough resource for that. And Bigatron Alpha here, good response, right? Martis, a tanky build is doable, but also can deal damage.
And it's also a really good way to level up that early game farm and utility control over the neutral objectives against the Lancelot. But what would you pair with the Martis here? What would you use in that roam?
I think they need something to catch down or go for a big team fight. It's gonna be a Grok though, bit of both worlds. Actually, a bit more of a counter for pickoffs themselves. But it seems like a bit of a setup for a big split push macro play. But with the Khalid here, it's gonna be very difficult for the EXP lane to stay relevant, especially with the help coming in from all these high roaming potential heroes that GEEK has secured.
Very aggressive from GEEK Fam. With the Khalid as well, there's so much killing pressure and there's so much early game control as well. They had got mobility with the Matilda, the Lancelot.
Yeah.
Bruno scales quite quickly as well in the early stage of the game, especially when paired with a good support. I would recommend maybe perhaps the Angela or even the Matilda to help him out in that lane to win it against Claude, especially before level 4.
I was about to say, right? Very honest draft from GEEK Fam. Mobility is what they're looking for. Mobility is what they draft, right? Khalid, Matilda, Angela, Lancelot, very high mobility heroes here, but this begs the question, can they handle the late game?
We'll have to see. I think it can go either way right here. The execution from GEEK Fam though needs to be very, very on point. Because otherwise, they are two
5 seconds
saviors
till the enemy
for the
reaches
Bruno.
the
If they
battlefield.
overlap, it
Smash
could be
them.
disastrous in the middle of a big team fight where every single bit of healing, every single bit of shielding will count.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
Welcome
GEEK
to
Fam with the
Mobile
aggressive
Legends.
composition, a Bigatron with a more team fight-oriented composition. Already so much aggression because the stakes are ever so high. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lower bracket finals between the Red Terminators and the Geeks as we walk into game number 1.
Turns out Beloyski will be the one on that Mathilda, and a boy is on the Angela. So it will not be Angeloy, but I think it's equally dangerous to have Beloyski in his element. Looking at the emblems by Dunia Games, agilities, and the Wilderness Blessings for the Grok and the Valentina. They're all trying to rotate really, really fast because Bigatron...
Whoa, 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 whoa!
With the flicker here, a boy, very low, great skill, but it seems like Chorizo will unlock the first kill here in the first minute of the game. Lethal Wonder secured by the side of GEEK Fam though.
It's usually a Beloyski move, but now he himself, he might be in trouble here. Super Key looking for a chance. Get one more, but it will not be allowed. As I was saying, Bigatron Alpha, well known for being dangerous, deadly, up to 15 minutes. So expect aggression full on in the early game.
Wow, aggression from both of these teams, no? Look at Nile and the way that he's just propping against Bigatron Alpha in that mid lane. But going back to the emblem choices, Super Key. That's a very unique choice, is it not?
Choice for the emblems. It's a Brave Smite for that Grok for a bit more survivability, especially because he is serving as the main front line if they are planning on using that Uranus as a split push tool. Right now you can see that the pressure is very much on GEEK Fam. They have all the saves, all the shielding, but the damage and the danger all comes from Bigatron. Already spending 2 battle spells defensively right here. We'll see if they want to contest its turtle early or wait for the second, because losing in a fight, especially against a Martis, that is a dangerous preposition with the resets coming in from the Decimate.
Nile quite chunked. Chorizo though, below half HP now. The turtle just touched here by the side of Bigatron Alpha, but will they commit this is still up in the air. Key now, chunked. Oh, will they commit this key? It seems like the answer is no. As GEEK Fam looking for an opening, now jumps in with Hard Guard as well. Raging Stun from Flicker. A boy secures a kill. Now Moreno jumps in and out as well, but the turtle will fall to the hands of Beloyski. Beloyski now low mana, but it seems like Manile in the back will look to escape. Super Ken, very low, 1 HP Luke, looking for the kill, doesn't get it.
Wow, Geek winning it out on all fronts, but it's not over yet.
Ooh, even securing the kill onto Super Chorizo. An unfortunate conclusion for Bigatron Alpha. Going in individually, kind of spread apart, and the fact that Super Key was unable to land the wild charge onto anyone right there. Oh! As I say it, the caster curse strikes again.
What a pick from Super Key. Both of these teams, they're going at it. Just a brawl happening. You'd expect the same aggression between Bigatron Alpha and Alter Ego. But look at GEEK Fam just really coming out on top as well. Taking a look at the talent predictions though, it looks like it's a one versus everybody situation here. Owl finds beauty in the Bigatron lineup.
For once, Papulong not the only one out. But Bigatron again, trying to exert the pressure, but with that setback early on, gonna be a tad bit more difficult. And you can see the difference in effectiveness of disturbance between Super Key and Beloyski on that Matilda. He will be able to slide away from this danger though, but Beloyski can't say the same.
See, circling Eagle. Seems like just to poke around, just to even escape from the 2v1. And again, I mentioned that the mid laner should be Angela. Why? Because Angela needs more items. It's more item dependent if you compare it to Matilda.
Depends on how you want to play it out, Gani, but that is generally the case. And so also with the wave clear that the Angela provides, it's a much better option compared to the Matilda. I do feel like in this match though, the time bomb is in the gold lane. Once Marky gets a power spike, and Aboy and Beloyski are ready to give him all the shielding and support he needs. It's gonna blow up right in the faces of Bigatron. And I think they recognize that, but they have been unable to bring all the fights towards the gold lane.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I was expecting that as well, right? Pressure into the gold lane, but for the most part, because of how active everyone else is in the mid and towards the neutral objectives. Oh, wait a minute.
Raging stance on Superkin now taken very low, but it seems like, the damage will come through towards Beloyski here. Another member, Luke, falls as Sorizo claims another. It's 3 members taken out, plus the turtle.
And the instant a gold shifts towards the Red Terminators here as Super Ken going in very aggressively, still in the mid side, and boy, can't do much for the moment. Look at Moreno.
Oh, terrified. The damage comes through, flickers out of the vicinity. Bigatron now holding on. They have the lead, but it seems like the structures here will be taken out firstly in that bottom lane.
With how scrappy everything is, right? Who does it favor? Does it favor Bigatron Alpha's composition or GEEK Fam as they go in once again?
Placing duet, circling Eagle. But no commitments here. Very good. But in the bottom side of the map, you can see Super Sorizo quite chunked. But
I
then again, he is Uranus.
Ooh. Well, I think it's quite even in the late game because for Bigatron Alpha, they have the macro playmaking to rely on. But for GEEK Fam, it's all about those team fights. When it comes to damage output, the Bruno and the Claude are a bit similar in output, but I think the Claude is a lot more shreddier, if that's even a real word. And Marky on the Bruno will be doing a lot more burst damage as we take a look at there. The crits already dealing a big problem. But against the front line, maybe it's going to be a bit more manageable. So it comes down to, again, how the fight begins and how it plays out.
Because in terms of power spikes, there's certain power spikes that we need to be aware of, right? The fact that Sive needs a few more items, I think, to come online. He's already level 8. I'm not really sure how far he is on items. Meanwhile, Marky already with the Berserker Fury. So these are kind of tells as to when it favors which side a little bit more in these team fights.
Well, Sive went for a bit more of a defensive option. He went for the steel leg plates and also the armor edition boots to ensure that he can actually stay alive in these big fights. He's not on the golden staff just yet. And for Marky, on the Bruno, I think his power spike comes a bit earlier. The big problem though, I think, is in the EXP lane. Luke needs to be ahead to actually make those big plays happen. But Sorizo is the one dictating all the pace. But now GEEK Fam, they are undeterred, going in against Bigatron.
Let's see if Venom Execution has been fought. Sorizo though, chunked very low. Still survives. Beloyski now jumps in with a circling eagle. Seems like looking for space. Raging Sandstorm as well. Take a look at that. Sorizo taking out Luke. Now very low, but the Lord or the Turtle will find the hands of Super Ken. Luke quite low now, jumps in. But no, it will be a trade, a kill for a Turtle.
Finally, the Flash of the Oasis completed for the Matilda, but Beloyski now getting chased by Super Ken.
Hey!
Gets decimated. And a boy running for his life.
Oh, a boy now, no flicker, gets taken now. Super Ken finds a double. Now the mid lane falls. Super Ken, they find it. They find the early game. I expected the mobility controlled by GEEK Fam, but no, now top lane chunked. Luke with the heal, cancelled with the barrier. Take a look at the wild charge. The coordination from the red robots.
What is going on with Bigatron Alpha? How are this coordinated? Super Ken is a monster, a super key. His initiation has been so on point, and finally we get to see the items to see how far both of these teams go. But even now, look at this, Super Cerezo! That's how much damage he's receiving from Beloyski himself, and I think something big's gonna happen here. Are they gonna go for yet another pick onto this bottom side?
Maybe, maybe.
Turns out it won't be the case just yet. But for GEEK fam, this is the problem. You have two supports, that's good for you, but how are you supposed to begin fights? Beloyski using the circling eagles again and again, but he's not really finding any value targets, and now he seems like he's a bit too squishy to really be dangerous. And look at the barriers from Super Key, man. Oh, an engage too!
Good wall charge, Beloyski now holding on, but it seems like now the damage will not come through. Good disengage there. As GEEK fam, they again looking for a trade, but Moreno overextends, gets taken down. Super Ken, very low, does not commit to a fight just yet. It's a 5v4 technically, but in the mid lane, Sorizo now will be able to escape.
And this is a 2,800 gold lead now for the Red Robots for Bigatron Alpha, and it's counting. And I completely agree with the opinion that Gani mentioned earlier on. The fact that it's Bigatron Alpha that's been able to control most of how things are going on, the tempo in the early game, despite a GEEK fam's high mobility and high rotational choices. But Beloyski goes in here.
Yeah. See, conceal play as well. Hardguard now blazing duet. Now will not find anyone. Oh, take a look at the backside. No, Shave! Taken down by Luke. Great IQ. Sorizo now, next target, but it seems like now with the 5v4, Bigatron will be forced to retreat.
Finally, you see the value of this double roam pick. No engage, but look at how confidently Marky can just walk up and deal that damage. Especially with the item power spikes. I believe he only has 2 items, the Has Claws and the Berserker's Fury. And now he went for the mana boots as well. He needs the mana to stay in the fight, and with the lifesteal, he can stay on the Land of Dawn indefinitely. Especially with the healing that both the roamers and the mid laner can provide for him. Bigatron Alpha needs to find a way to deal with this. Lower the healing, crowd control him down. Whatever it is, they gotta do it fast before GEEK fam fall into that tempo.
And it's starting to look like they are here, Arashi. Gani as well. 10 minutes in, this means that the Lord has already spawned into the Land of Dawn. For both of these junglers, they're both at level 12. Actually, Super Ken just got level 13, so he's a level ahead. It's gonna favor him in this engage. And it's interesting. Will Nile be able to take this Lord?
We've seen him pull off the miracle steals before. It's still possible, but with Super Cerezo on the other side of the map, seems like a boy gonna be tasked on clearing that wave and taking advantage of the global hard guard. As Beloyski is forced to use a circling eagle super early, that's a big win for Bigatron Alpha.
Yeah, it seems like here both teams just hovering here. The Lord even just toyed with the members of Bigatron, but it seems like Nile wants to find an opening to fight. GEEK fam holding on both, though. Top lane heavily favors the side of Bigatron Alpha. GEEK fam looking for a cheeky opening as, take a look at the Lord now, 15,000 HP. Beloyski very low. Bigatron Alpha now controlling.
Whoa.
Torn Rose and of course Phantom Execution used as well. Hard guard now, retreat battle. Rule falls in the hands of Super Ken. Beloyski quite low, terrified as well. Raging Sandstorm to find more space, but Super Key will be the first casualty. Traded by Beloyski. Valentina falls as well. Double for Super Ken, but they will be the trade as Marky finds the double as well.
Who was it worth it for?
I think it's worth it for GEEK fam. The more kills they get, especially in the hands of Marky, look at that! The Uranus getting chunked down big time, but Sive is able to find additional value, unless Nile can say something about it.
Oh, good opening, good spot there. But Shiva will be able to escape with the BMI. And again, this is the first Lord, so GEEK fam will definitely be able to defend this, right? Hopefully with 3 base turrets standing.
Well, if Bigatron wants to really take control of the game and assert their dominance, they have to go for cleaner plays. They can't trade 1 for 1, 2 for 2, or even 3 for 2 like they just did over there. They're gonna make sure that GEEK fam can scale even more and still get some kind of gold income, and that's never good, with Marky scaling ever so close into level 15.
Whoa, that was super close. Super Key is looking for an opening already. Doesn't quite find it because of Beloyski's guiding win. Meanwhile, both teams are posturing damage on one another, as we do have a game fact by grab. Beloyski is the first player in MPL ID Season 12 to reach 400 assists. Wow. Facilitator?
Facilitator indeed.
Prodigy?
Enabler, and take a look now in the game. We're GEEK fam here. They are holding on, but now I feel like here, Arashi, where the part of GEEK fam, why they struggle to find a good team fight. Crowd control.
Like I said, 2 roamers, that's great. Who's supposed to engage the fights? And who do you even target? Super Key is immune to the bulk of crowd control. Super Sorizo's too tanky. Sive is mobile. And Super Moreno is, I think, the prime target. But he never really steps up. And when he does, you can see that GEEK fam have been waiting for that opportunity. With that already happening once, there's no way Bigatron Alpha will give them an easy engage yet again.
So how do they do it? How do they look? Do they go for picks instead? Force picks instead of team fights against Bigatron Alpha?
Then they're going to try and use, I think the only thing they can use are the neutral objectives. If the Lord is in the picture, then whether you like it or not, you have to commit, you have to be present in those fights. In the orange buff, you're seeing a semblance of that situation. That's only an orange buff. Imagine if it is a Lord that has a chance to be a secondary frontliner for GEEK fam and allow them to really take advantage of Marky and all that protection. I think giving up a Lord is the worst case scenario for Bigatron Alpha. So they need to be very careful and, like I said, control the game and mitigate the risks.
Alright, but as longer the game goes, whose composition does it favor? But Beloyski goes in for a pick.
Oh, they have to be careful here. Hard guard pops as well. Oh, Super Key. Raising Sansa over the backside now. Shive with the Wind of Nature. Can he do it? Blazing Duet will not be
Overhead.
as Luke will not find the kill. Shive stands, but at the end of the day, he will fall. Super Key, nice target. Nile and Beloyski is on it. Nile finding the double.
Oh.
Super Moreno now in a trouble. Isolated, immobilized everything. As Nile finds the triple.
We were asking how exactly are GEEK fam supposed to win these team fights, and that's exactly how. A brilliant display of mechanics from GEEK to be able to use that flicker to juke, get Shive down, and take him out eventually. And this is a 4-man knockout by GEEK fam
Wait
as
a
they look to go in for the mid lane. Can they look for an end here?
Super Ken not having clear, but seems like the base turret in the mid lane will fall. Again, Martis will now have no clear. There you go. The Lord has been initiated by GEEK fam. I wonder how Bigatron will recover.
That's going to be the Lord, like we said, worst case scenario for Bigatron. So they're trying to go for a fight knowing that the Lord was going to be up soon, but they overcommit, and Sive getting caught out so early right there means that they lack that damage for the prolonged team fight. No one to shred through the big shields that GEEK fam has. Moreno tried his best, and so did Super Ken. But the Martis and Valentina, they're not exactly the best source for constant DPS. Now with the Lord, this is the moment where Bigatron Alpha are the ones on the back foot. They don't have the best of clears. All they have is damage, and they have to execute perfectly. And if they don't, GEEK fam is going to take full advantage of this technical 6v5.
All 3 lanes are pushing here. Arashi Gani, Bigatron Alpha. They need to defend this as fast as they can. Marky is the first one to be close there, but Beloyski is looking for an engage already.
Now the what the heck? What the heck happened there? Shive bursted down. Now the Lord still stands, but again, it's not a very tanky Lord. Luke jumps in with a Raging Sandstorm, still okay. Destroyed a base to top lane. Super Ken Sorizo cannot handle the damage as Sorizo taken down as well as Super Ken as GEEK fam base wide open. The pendulum will swing to the GEEK fam side in this first game.
The Geeks lead the series, this best of 5 series, with a 1-0. But we'd like to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, again, in this best of 5, it is no longer a sprint, it is a marathon. We've seen miracles happen. We've seen the unexpected, the unthinkable, the unorthodox to occur. But GEEK fam, in that later stage of the game, they came online.
As predicted, man. As prophesized almost. That late game. Maybe in the late game, the lack of damage is going to harm them. But right there, right when the power spikes really land, they're able to find the fights that they require, get the Lord. And like I said, and I think they know it too, once they got the Lord, it's essentially game over. Bigatron tried their best, but they get completely overwhelmed And Marky in this game was just constantly free hitting, man. On a Bruno, you cannot allow that to happen.
Let's start from the draft, right? Katrina Arashi. Valentina first pick for Matilda Angela. In theory, that does not make sense in this match.
That's a good topic of argument, of discussion, because some people feel otherwise. Some people feel like because it's a signature for Moreno as well, that it's a power pick, it's a comfort pick that usually Bigatron Alpha are able to utilize.